So, hi, my name is Osby and I'm a human. But what does it mean to be a human right now? Because, we may have preconceptions about what might be a human, but I think this idea is changing with the rise of AI. And I'm not talking about it in a very apocalyptic way. I'm talking about it as an opportunity. Because I feel like for the past decade or two, we have been sort of dehumanizing ourselves. We have been trying to be like machines, like cogs, built to play a part of this puzzle that is society. But with the advent of AI, it feels like being human is something a bit different. I think it's similar to hyperrealistic art and photography. It's really hard to spot the human behind that. When I look at different pieces of art, I like to see the trace, the human behind the brush. And that's why I like so much Goya, for instance. Goya is amazing in so many ways, but the way that his trace is ingrained in the painting with such brutality, it feels visceral. It feels, again, human. You can compare it to a hyperrealistic painting and say, well, this is flawed. Of course it's flawed. And that's why it's so perfect. Because you can empathize with it. You can see the human and what the human wanted to convey through his art. I don't think you can do that with AI-generated things. In the end, what makes us human are the flaws. And these flaws makes the character. When we listen to an old piece of music, like for instance the Beatles are absolutely great. There's no doubt about it. But when you listen to John's voice, you know it wasn't perfect. When you listen to Paul's voice, it may have been way more technically proficient, but he wasn't perfect either. And most of his most memorable pieces, they're not great technically. If you listen to Twist and Shout, like John's voice is just gone, absolutely gone, and he still pushed through it to give us a very raw performance. And that's where the greatness lies, in there. You also notice that they're not the greatest singers to ever exist, but they have a certain character which is charming and emotional, and that's why we can relate to them. The same happens with other bands like Led Zeppelin. You had this really coarse, high-pitched voice of Robert Plant. You have John Bonham playing always a little bit behind the beat, but with this thunderous sound. You have Jimmy Page playing in a very sloppy way, but it's soulful, right? One of my favorite bands is Fleet Foxes, and they have a song called Helplessness Blues, in which they talk a little bit about this. They say, and now after some thinking, I'd say I'd rather be a functioning cog in some great machinery serving something beyond me. I think it's beautifully written line, but also not just because Robin Pecknold is an amazing writer, amazing lyricist, and amazing musician all around, but I think it somehow describes the struggles of my generation. We were expected to be like machines. We were expected to be efficient and make as little mistakes as possible. But now, AI can do that way better than us, right? AI can be the machine we were expected to be. So what does that mean for us? Well, that means that now we have a chance to be unapologetically human. I see it as an opportunity to become the most flawed version of ourselves. And I like that. I like when humans make mistakes. Think about AI music, now that I was talking about music. I can generate a good enough song in seconds. Seconds. I consider myself a songwriter, and I've spent many years refining my craft so I can make good enough songs from time to time, but most of them are mediocre. So I leave a lot of songs out of many releases because I don't think they're good enough. Now I can just give a prompt to an AI music service and it will spit out a song in a couple seconds, and I'll be like, well, this is better than any random song of mine. I'm done. Then why do I still make songs? Why do I still write? Why do I still try? Because my specific set of flaws cannot be replicated by a machine. My voice cracks, my sloppy piano playing, it cannot be replicated. Those flaws exist because of the way I was raised, because the way I grew up, because the way I learned, because of the way my brain works. If someday AI can replicate that, I'll be very surprised. And I'm not saying my set of flaws is a good set of flaws. No, they're not. They're just flaws like any other human. It gives me the possibility to become more unapologetically me. And that's a blessing, in a way. So what am I trying to say with this is, don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to try and to fail, and to fail, and to fail, and to fail once again if necessary. Because we need to fail. And if you fail, show it proudly, because we humans fail all the time. You can say we are a failure. Or society might be a failure. But it's time for us to reprogram ourselves and to feel like what we're doing matters. All our failures matter. And I want to fail. Because that means I'm learning, and because that means I'm living. And that means I'm experiencing the world. I'm experiencing the universe. It's beautiful being human at times. It's beautiful to be able to touch, to see, to smell, to taste. It's wonderful. And I don't want us to lose sight of what's important, which is to just live, maybe without any expectations. So, to end up in a little happier note, all this music you've been hearing, I've been improvising it with just one hand, so please bear with me. Bear with it. And if you like this, leave a comment and see you in the next one, I guess. Bye.